Hi, everybody, and thank you so much for being a part of this session. I know that I promised my subscribers that I was going to do this last Friday. I promised that I was going to introduce you guys to Tim, and here he is in the flesh. Well, in the internet flesh, anyway. Hi, Tim.
Hello.
Thanks so much for taking the time today. I know how busy you are. Thanks
Th-
so much for taking the time
Thanks for having
to,
me, Sheila. Appreciate
yeah,
it.
yeah,
Yeah,
for being a part of this. I just felt
absolutely.
that I felt that it was really, really, really important for you to, for me to introduce you to people who don't really understand the whole idea of um, earning income online. And that's why I felt it was really, really important to talk to you. So thanks again for being a part of this.
My pleasure.
And
Yeah.
I would like to introduce you. So, Tim is an online brand strategist and an entrepreneur who's based in Las Vegas, Nevada, if I am correct. You are in the
Woohoo!
US, right?
Party. uh,
And the very, very interesting thing about Tim is that he was born and raised in Kenya. And
yes.
after high school, he decided to move to the US and find better opportunities. And he has started and succeeded in several businesses. And the two most active ones today that he operates are Stance Branding, which is about online branding, and he works with several clients. And there's the most recent one, which is really the basis of this interview today, called Tim's 30 Streams. Now, if there's anything, Tim, that you would like to add on that, you can tell us right now.
No, no, that's a pretty good recap of my journey so far in a very brief way. No, nothing much there.
Absolutely. And I have also included the links to Stan's branding and Tim's 30 streams. So do check it out. It's below this video. And before we get into the subject, I wanted to pick your brain on generating multiple income streams. And I'd really like to know what it is that compelled you. Let's just start from the beginning. What compelled you to move from Kenya to the US to find your own success, knowing how the success rate is also pretty grim?
Um,
What compelled?
Actually, I want to take all the credit and say it was my idea, but it really wasn't. It was my mom's idea. My plan, believe it or not, was to move to Russia, where I was gonna go study aeronautical engineering. And
Really?
yeah, and then my mom didn't really like that vibe. No offense to anyone listening from Russia, but I don't know. I don't think she thought that I could survive the cold up there. And so she convinced me to maybe try and, apply to like colleges in the US. So I knew how like high the failure rate was. So I was kind of shying
Mm,
away from that, because I knew so many people were trying to move to the US to go to college, but I knew like a very small percentage was going. So I had like zero interest because I knew, with my background, I have no chance. But then once
yeah.
I had a couple talks with my mom, and I finally was like, okay, I'm gonna do it. And I set my mind to it, and I started applying for schools, and I finally got accepted. And before you know it, I was in the States. I was back in 2006, so almost 10 years now, and still
Mm.
going strong. And I still believe that was one of the best decisions I've ever made in my life. So it's been quite the experience, going to college, graduating, and starting a business or a couple of businesses, and doing my best to make those work. So I guess that's really the background as far as that's concerned. As far as my businesses are concerned,
Mm.
I'm a horrible employee, and anyone and not to like the company I'm working for. If you call any of the companies I've worked for, they'll tell you good things about me because I'll give my all. But the feeling I feel when I'm working for someone is horrible. So I've always tried to find ways to make money on the side or start my own business. And I really started my first business when I was still in Kenya. It wasn't my own, but I
Mm,
was kind of working with someone under someone, and we were doing video shoots and stuff like that. And that's where I really made my first like huge money in Kenya and like realized, oh wow, this is possible. And then
right,
in 2006, I came here for college. Took me about a year to adjust to like things, and in 2007, I started a clothing line called Cloud9 Clothing, and I was
right.
basically like designing the stuff, and like I set up a little shop that I designed, and I was selling the stuff online, and that went on up until sometime in 2011, where I kind of let it die off because I wasn't making enough money. But I still had customers, but I wasn't making enough money to support myself, and that's really what I was looking for. And so that's when I branched out and started doing websites and stuff. And I mean, during this time, I was designing my own websites, and I was doing websites for friends and things like that, and designing things here and there like flyers, business cards. But I hadn't really taken it serious. So in
Mm,
2011, I'd moved to LA after graduating in 2010. I moved to LA to really like get the clothing line off the ground because it was either LA or New York. Those are the two places where
right,
fashion happens, or Paris. But I had the two at my disposal. So I moved to LA. But then after working there for close to a year, I decided, okay, I need to branch out on my own. I'm not going to do this. I need to branch out on my own. So seeing that the
right.
clothing line wasn't fully supporting me how I wanted it to, I started Maina Studios, which later evolved to Stance. It was rebranded to Stance back in last year, 2014. And so I started doing websites, videos, graphic design, and essentially I was doing branding without really calling it branding. So it was more of digital services.
Mm,
And then that enabled me to quit my job and go full time into that, working crazy hours and putting everything I could into the business. And that worked out, and I've never really looked back since 2011 up to now as far as being employed. And so
and yeah,
and so last year, I rebranded, Minor Plus Studios to Stance in order to focus on providing more wholesome experience for the business as far as like
hmm,
branding. Because what I realized that when most customers came to me or most clients came to me for like a website or like a flyer or a business card, all they're really trying to do is communicate their value in the marketplace, and connect with
right,
an audience. And so by me providing that specific thing, all I was doing really is piecemealing them and giving them a small piece to the puzzle. And that wasn't really it's not an effective way to communicate. And so that's why I stepped back and
right,
decided to just focus on branding and to be specific brand positioning in order to give my clients a more of a whole package to what they were trying to offer. So they'll come to me, we'll come up with a strategy, create a wholesome experience for them, and have a complete package as far as that communication is concerned. So when they go out to the marketplace, they have a full product that they can present to the marketplace and not just bits and pieces. So did that all last year, and it was
mm.
really, really good. Had a whole team, but then something happened this year.
Actually, before you continue,
Sure.
I just wanted to say that I wanted to let the people watching know that you were an integral part to me starting your push factor. I needed your
Oh,
services,
oh yeah.
and you helped me come up with this holistic way of looking at online branding,
Right.
and we came up with this really awesome product and service that everybody. There's nobody who has told me that it's shoddy or anything like. Everybody's impressed the minute they come to my website.
That's
So
awesome.
yeah, it's absolutely fantastic. So
Yeah.
I just also wanted people to know that this is real.
Yeah.
He this is work that you do, and I have been affected very, very positively by
Yeah.
that work. And I will also attest to the fact that you work extremely hard. Like, we would put in like what, like 4 hours, like 4 hour shifts sometimes, just talking and coming up with the
With
whole concept
ideas.
of branding and
Yeah.
everything, yeah, before we fully came into push factor. And I really appreciated how hard you worked, and how quickly you came up with concepts. So it's been absolutely wonderful
That was
knowing you and
quite
working
the
with you.
experience,
But there
huh?
was some it was the best experience. It was the best thing that ever happened to me, actually.
Oh, wow.
But there was something that you were going to say about what happened this year,
Oh, okay. So
2015. Yeah.
yeah, so one thing I'm noticing with business is it's always ups and downs. And, even though the
Yeah.
company was getting big, I feel like I may have grown it a little too fast, or it may have grown a little too fast for me. And so what happened is we were pretty much one client away from really making it big, and also one client away from going under. So it's like that. We're always playing at that level. And so what
Right.
happened is back in April this year, it's something weird happened, and kind of like all my clients decided to not pay. And that was something I hadn't experienced before. And so when that happened, it really woke me up, and it hit me hard because I put so much work into what I do and for my clients that I took it very personal, because to me that kind of felt like they didn't respect my work enough to want to pay me on time. And after doing a lot of self-analysis and all that stuff, I realized, like, you know, in all those clients, I was kind of the common denominator. So I knew there's
Right.
something about me that I needed to change or do. And I've come to realize it's more of my demeanor and how I approach clients and things like that that resulted to them eventually not paying me. I mean, most of them by now have
Mm.
paid, but that really woke me up. And so that dip in business made me realize I don't really want to do something that gives my clients so much control over my life. And so I wanted
And
to
your
build,
time.
yep, and my time, and my blood, sweat, and tears. I felt like I needed to create something that, if, like, I have full control over, and something that's not going to collapse because one person didn't pay. And so
Right.
that's when that was the conception of 30 streams. And so my idea was, okay, if I had 5 different sources of income, a couple clients not paying wouldn't really hurt me that much. So,
Yeah.
that's where the light bulb kind of came on. And then I was like, okay, well, it would be really, really cool to really challenge myself. And so I was like, well, I'm turning 28 in August, which, a couple months ago. So this is back in April. So I'm like,
Right.
between now and then, I need to figure something out that's going to work. So that idea of, like, I'm turning 28, in 2 years I'll be 30. I was like, it would be really, really cool to do something in a 2 year span that's going to change the rest of my life. And so that's where the
Right.
idea of 30 streams came about. And so I was like, it would be really cool to create 30 streams of income
Mm.
and before I turned 30. And I was like, oh, that has a really nice catch to it. So the idea was born, and I quickly, got the domain name, both domain names,
Yeah, 30
secured those,
streams.
and then worked
Yeah.
my way back, kind of like what we did with Push Factor. Worked my way back and started doing
Mm.
research, and then came up with the strategy, and then, designed the elements. And this happened in a span of what, from like June to July, about a month. I mean, it was working on it behind, in the back of my head, but really actually doing the work as far as, like, creating the logo, creating the website, all that stuff, and all the brand elements. I did that in the span of a month, and relaunched the blog, my blog, which was initially my full name, timothymaina.com. I relaunched it to
Right.
30streams.com as 30streams.com. And so I've been really surprised at how well it's been received, and how much people can relate to what I'm going through, and how much
Mm.
people want to be a part of that challenge of creating multiple streams of passive income. Because right now, with, like, the internet, how the internet is, it's made the playing field so leveled, so that anyone who, really has the desire and enough drive and discipline, they can really do anything they want. They can create all sorts of, income streams for themselves. And so right now what I'm doing,
Absolutely.
yeah, so what I'm doing is I have a plan for the next 2 years is what I'm working on. I have about 7 income streams. I just added 2 as of last month, October. And so I'm on my working my way up through that list. And by the time I turned 30 in 2017, I should have 30 streams of passive income. And that's my goal, you know? And so what I'm doing too is helping anyone
30
really.
streams of passive income.
Yep.
That which is like crazy to
Yeah.
me.
And here's my assumption. My assumption is
It's crazy to me. Like,
I want to create $1 million, and there's different ways you can do it. But I felt like if I tell people I want to create $1 million, people are gonna be like, whatever, you know. But if you really think about it, $1 million is just it's $100,000 every month. You'll pretty much get $1 million by the end of the year. It's not that hard.
yeah.
And $100,000 divided by, let's say, 30 streams, that's what, 3,000 or something like that. Nothing hard.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
But that
Nothing too crazy.
let me tell you first of all, Tim. Yeah, yeah. I mean, I was like blown away by your concept. Like I remember when you told me about it, and I was like, "What?
Yeah.
30 streams within the next 2 years?" And then I thought to myself, "Wow, this is actually possible. He can do it." But it fueled me because I, I I am interested, deeply interested in the idea of making money outside of employment, creating my own online streams of income. And here you are, you've created 30streams.com, and I really encourage everybody who is watching to go check out Tim's website, 30streams.com, because it's a very interesting thing that he does alongside giving a lot of valuable information about how to set up certain businesses. And he also puts up a report at the end of every month showing how much he earns, which I find so interesting. I don't know if I'm sorry if I took you off your train of
No, no, no,
thought.
no, 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 not at all.
Yeah, so
Right around
I'd
it, yeah.
love for you to, yeah, I'd love to you to sort of talk about why you decided to to show people, such a personal thing, to share with people what your income is month by month.
I think you know me well by now, and you
Yes, I do.
know how private I am. So
Yes.
that part was really hard. It was really hard for me to open up
Yeah.
and be like, okay, this is how much I made. And and we have this thing in our culture where you don't really tell people how much you make. Like, employees don't
Yeah.
really talk about how much they make. If you get a raise, you don't really tell people how much you got a raise for. And
Yeah, some
so,
some husbands don't tell their wives, some wives don't tell their husbands how
yeah,
much they make.
it's
It's
that
crazy, yeah.
crazy. So for me to
Yeah.
open up to the world was extremely hard. But I did it for one specific reason. And then I have a primary reason and a secondary reason. My primary reason for this is there's something that happens when you see someone that you can relate to making a certain amount of money that you didn't think was possible.
Was possible.
Yeah,
Yes. Yes.
there's something clicks in your head, and it opens up this world of possibility, and all of a sudden you tell yourself, shoot, I can do this. If this guy can do it,
Yeah.
I can do it.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things that I keep saying on my blog. If I can do it, you can do it. So that was the
Yeah.
main reason, because back when I was working in LA, I'm not going to mention the company to protect it, but I, my boss kept telling me, "Oh, I see how you're working. You kind of remind me of me when I was starting out." And this is someone who was making millions who was telling me this, but it didn't really click because I was like, "Well, this is just how I work. There's nothing special to it." I always knew that I want to make it big and I want to do big things. I want to make a lot of money as an entrepreneur, but all these things he kept telling me never really clicked until I got more, I got more into the company and they opened up the financials for me to see. And I was working in the back end of that website. and I remember this day just like it was yesterday. I remember logging in when I got my password and all that stuff. And I logged into the account and I saw
How
like
much?
like money was coming in every second. Like by the end of the day, we were
Wow.
making like 60 grand a day in sales. So to me, that was
Wow.
mind blowing. I remember seeing this and I'm like, what the heck? Like, is this even possible, you know?
Yeah,
And
yeah, yeah.
so to me, that woke me up. And from that day, I I was never settled. I knew I had to make I had to make something, like I had to do something different with my life. And that's how I ended up quitting that job and starting my own company, like full time
So,
because mhm,
yeah, which is awesome. So if we fast forward to today, what would you say is the highest you have earned on a particular month, either with Stance branding or with 30 streams? Because
just
I know you do well for yourself.
oh, thank you. I think I'm getting there. I don't think I'm there yet, but I'm getting there. Getting to where I want to be.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for the sake of, yeah, for the sake of our of the guys who are watching, who
Sure.
really don't think like certain figures are possible,
Yeah, I think the
you
most
know.
I've made is I believe 26,000 a month. It's about I think that's the highest that I've
Did
made.
you say 46,000?
No, 26. I wish
20
46.
twenty six
26,
20
yeah.
$26,000.
26,000,
20,
yeah.
yes, $26,000.
Yes.
Not shillings, not no, $26,000 a month. And
Yeah.
I'm talking to a guy who is from Nyeri, Kenya. No, really, from Nyeri, Kenya, who is now living in Las Vegas, earning money through his own, through your own efforts. And I
Yeah.
really want people to understand that we're not talking about these figures to brag. It's
No,
just for
not at
people
all.
to
Yeah.
see. Yeah, it's for people to see
It's
that
for
if
creating, yeah, it's for creating a frame of reference. That's what I like to call it. Yeah, it's
exactly,
for
yeah,
creating a frame of reference because I feel like if someone can draw any sort of reference from my experiences of who I am as a person, my background and all those things, if someone can draw some sort of reference from that and be able to relate to their lives, I think
yes,
it opens up this world of possibilities, which is the whole goal. Now, I said there was
yes,
two reasons why I chose to to show my income or report it. The first one was
to
that,
share
yeah.
your income.
The first one was that. The second one was just to be accountable, because when I know I have to show numbers by the
Right.
end of the day, I know I have to perform. So it's a way of keeping me on track. And I've made my blog
Yeah.
very transparent and very open, and I made a very conscious decision to share as much as I can because I believe that you get more than you give when you give more than you get. Just that simple. So I've
Yeah.
decided to give as much as I can to anyone willing to listen and
Mm.
give as much value and as much information because
That's
I've failed
possible.
a lot. So if I can share all those failures and have, prevent someone from failing, and, like lower their failure rate, I think that's really
Mm.
important because time is one thing that you can never recover. And if I can help you save it, I think that's a win. So those are the two reasons. And I'm going to keep doing it even when I start losing money, when that happens. Like my income has currently dipped, but being in business for so long, I understand that that's always going to happen,
That's
you know?
that's how it goes. That's
Yeah,
the
all these
cycle
big
of business. There
companies,
are ups and there are downs.
yeah,
Yeah.
they lose millions all the time. And I feel like people are so hard on themselves. Like you lose a couple thousand and you're like, oh my goodness, the world's going to end. No, it's not. Calm down. It's fine. One thing I
Yeah,
always stress
absolutely.
is, business is a commitment and it's really, really important for you to commit. But that's how passionate I feel about this.
Yeah, about it.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
business is a commitment. And when you
Yes, it
make a
is.
commitment, you don't back out. I think the
No, you don't.
mistake, yeah, the mistake most people do is get into business and then start facing challenges, which are always going to be there, by the way, and then quit
Yes.
you know and there's one thing I always say, like, if you haven't felt like crying yet about whatever you're working on, you don't care enough about it you know
I like that. It's
yo
true.
I've cried tears because of something.
Yeah.
Like, I'm like, why is this not working? It's just so
Mm.
frustrating. You just start bawling. So I feel like this is, it's really important to like understand that this is a commitment, and through all the ups and downs, which are always going to be there, it's okay.
Yes,
It's
yes.
really fine. Just stick through it and ride it out. Ride it out, because most people don't have the patience. They don't have the patience to wait for things to get better, which they always do.
There's something very, very painful about entrepreneurship. Like you always say that it is important to know yourself. If you're going to get into entrepreneurship, it's important for you to understand, be aware of yourself. Because it is gruesome, it's torture. It's like you really have to have nerves of steel,
Yes.
and not get rattled every time, like you just said, not get rattled every time things don't work out. But
Yeah.
yeah,
Now let's say I think knowing yourself is, and now this is, so let's speak to someone who's wanting to get started.
yes,
Someone who's always wanted to get started. They know it's in them, because I feel like entrepreneurship, it's not something you choose to do. It's something that chooses you. And
I
so
like that.
you can't really escape it. You
It's like a
can't.
calling.
Yeah, I've tried to work for people. I hate it. I hate my life when I'm doing that. And I know hate is such a strong word. I don't know what
But
else to call it.
you feel passionately about working for yourself.
Correct. And
Yeah.
so I feel like if you're that person who you truly believe that entrepreneurship is your calling, one thing you absolutely must do is, before you get out there and start doing all these different things, which, yeah, I recommend doing, but the first thing you need to do is really understand who you are, what you
Right.
stand for, know your
Right. You
limits.
do.
Yeah.
You do.
Figure out what your strengths are. And
Mm.
there's this acronym that I made. You have to know your shit. And it really means,
SHIT.
yeah, you have to know your shit. And knowing your shit really is, you got to know your skills. You got to know
Mm-hmm.
what your hobbies are. You got to know what your
Right.
interests are. And you got to know what your talents are. And I do like this
Mm.
quadrant that I do, and I draw the SHIT. Um, so, and
Sort of
then for
like
those people
sports,
who
but it's
don't like
SHIT.
that kind of language, you could say, you gotta make hits happen. So when you make hits happen, then it's the same
Ah,
thing.
hits.
Yes.
I like that. Okay.
So it's
Yeah.
really understanding, what your strengths are, because I feel like most people confuse their hobbies, and they try to make their hobbies a business.
Th-
Most of the
their
time,
business.
yeah, that fails. You know
Right.
a
Right.
sweet spot for you to start a business is really where your talents are. But knowing your talents get better with time, and they become skills, you know,
Exactly.
and you can have different, a wide range of skills. And the ones you're going to be really, really good at as far as skills are the ones you're talented at. And if
Yeah.
you have interests are the ones that drive your skills. So if you're interested in something, eventually you're going to be able to gain skills in it. And then
Yeah.
hobbies, you just do that for fun. And hobbies too can turn into a business, but it has to be taken serious for it to be a business.
For
And
it to
then
actually
it's,
start being a
yeah.
viable.
And then it kind of ceases to be a hobby, because then you're taking it serious. But knowing those things helps you understand. So that's one step of it. The other step
Right.
really is figuring out, like, what your weaknesses are, because and your strengths. So kind of doing a real SWOT analysis on yourself, knowing what your strengths are, and especially what your weaknesses are.
What's your week?